beat Baltimore. We know Philadelphia is good. For the moment, we know Saquon Barkley's great. For the moment, let's talk Baltimore. So they lost again. There's three things. First of all, Justin Tucker, who was the best kicker arguably ever, and for about a 10-year run, is now a liability. Missed 3 different kicks. Number 2, the Ravens have lost to some really good teams. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. And number 3 is once you pay your quarterback a fortune, you're not going to be great everywhere. Kansas City's tackles right now are bad, offensive tackles. Chargers, they don't have any dynamic wideouts. Baltimore, it's the defense and special teams. They're very good, but they're not exceptional. And, you start missing 3 kicks in a game like that against a great Philadelphia team, that is ball game. It's not Lamar Jackson. He's number 1 in the NFL in passer rating, number 2 in touchdown passes, number 1 in best athlete that plays the position. It's not a Lamar Jackson issue. But when you play Philadelphia, you cannot miss kicks. I mean, Baltimore with Lamar Jackson had more first downs, was better on third down, had more passing yards, had fewer penalties, and dominated time of possession. It's not a Lamar Jackson issue. It's a very unbalanced team, okay? And the Ravens' offense is creative, and it's dynamic, and it distracts us from the truth. Their kicker now is a liability, and in big, close games, you can't have it. And all their losses, by the way, all of them are one-possession losses. Listen to this. If you take Baltimore's 5 losses, they've lost by a total of 22 points. In those 5 losses, Justin Tucker has missed 22 points of kicks. And so when you get into the better AFC teams, the margins are inches, not feet. Whereas the Chiefs tend to make the big third down offensive play, the Ravens miss the kick or have a penalty. So Baltimore is riveting to watch, but they're a very inconsistent team. And because they're not as reliable with special teams or defense, and Joe Burrow's finding this out, that puts more pressure on the quarterback. And Lamar's having a remarkable year. Burrow's having a remarkable year. You can't do it by yourself. And I feel like Lamar now, there's more pressure to be brilliant. Justin Tucker's a Hall of Famer, a first ballot, the best kicker arguably ever. But he's mid-30s now. And whatever out of your prime is for a kicker, I have no idea. It's not working, and here's the coach after.
He's definitely capable of making every kick. And we need him to make those kicks. And nobody wants to make them more than Justin. If you're asking me, are we going to move on from Justin Tucker? I'm not really planning on doing that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about this. First off, we have to acknowledge that this was not really like a one-score game. It came down, that last touchdown was, garbage time. You have to admit that as a Baltimore Ravens fan, and that's okay. Because this game still was closer, even though, maybe didn't feel that way. The game was closer. They had more first downs, more total plays, more total yards. Time of possession, 33 minutes and 51 seconds to 26 minutes and 9 seconds. But the difference is this. They were 1-4 in the red zone. Philly was 2-3. Philly just executed. I mean, you had the missed field goals, and which then gave Philly better field position. That's also part of some of the issues with time of possession and, less plays and whatnot. But I look at this game, and I look at it like this. That these teams are a lot more equal than it can seem. But the Eagles were just definitely better last night. They executed better. They were ready to play. Look at how they attacked Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Flowers. I mean, look what that defense did. The defense, everyone saw that tackle on Henry. They disrupted Lamar. Lamar, before that final minute, because again, I'm so happy I wrote this down because I knew there was going to be kind of some garbage stuff. He was 19 for 30, 206 yards, right? 3 sacks for a loss of 31 yards and a 94 rating with 1 touchdown. That's not exactly earth-shattering. But again, look what the Eagles were able to do. They were able to complete a team and run and execute an offense where Jalen Hurts only had to be 11 for 19, 118 yards, 1 touchdown, passing and rushing, 93.8 rating, 8 carries for 30 yards. Saquon 23 for 107. And again, you add that offensively, every single throw to AJ Brown was essentially a first down. The defense stepped up. You just had a more complete team. Like, that's what you saw. You saw a more complete team in the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they can reach the same level of peaks because of Lamar, because of Derrick Henry, and just more of those guys more than anything, because those guys are just special, right? That's undeniable. But the Ravens right now are not that complete team. They are still a top team in the NFL, and they still absolutely could have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people today are saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL. And that's a discussion for a different video. But the Ravens are right there. Justin Tucker does make those field goals. Now the Eagles have, right now, not only, do the points change, but the play calling changes. The Eagles are going to get different field position. But you can't just blame the kicking. Because it's not like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry were on one as well. Like, again, the Eagles contained them, both. And again, you have to admit it. And the Eagles, here's the difference too. The Eagles adapted throughout the game. Their game plan was not working initially. They couldn't get Saquon going. Jalen Hurts wasn't throwing very well. I mean, it's not like he was throwing poorly, but they just couldn't get that going. But they knew what they needed to do. They then used the passing game, to set up the run game, which then set up Saquon. And then once Saquon got going, it opened up the passing game. It was just, a snake eating its tail. It was just kind of this feedback loop that kept going and going and going. And you saw it. When you do that, you had the defense. And when the Eagles couldn't get anything going offensively, because what you saw on the broadcast, it was like over an hour in real time since the Eagles had a first down. But their defense was able to step up and hold down the fort. When it was reversed, the Ravens were unable to do that. So yeah, I agree. Lamar is not the problem. You don't watch that game and say Lamar is the problem there. No, not at all. I mean, Lamar is still a beast. But the Ravens, again, they didn't even look like they were ready to play. They didn't even act like this was a huge game. Like, that's what's crazy. That's why I've been just ripping Harbaugh since last year, honestly. The Ravens did not look like that they were ready to play. And you have Flowers like freaking out on the sideline and stuff. And it's like, bro, grow up already. Your emotions have already cost the Ravens a trip to the Super Bowl. Or I don't want to say they maybe cost it, but a huge contributing factor to it. I mean, what is this? Week 13, week 12, whatever it is at this point? And you're crying, carrying on? Like, enough. You can't have those things. And they actually took care of their penalties. Because I was like, early on, I was like, oh no, here we go with the penalties. But they actually took care of it. But even Romo was saying it, right? Like, they just hurt themselves. You have Flowers being a problem. You have Justin Tucker being a problem. Fumbles, penalties. I mean, it's just always something. Always something. And so that's why I say, like, you go there and you're just like, that's not a complete team. Because they actually started off like, okay, here we go. They contained the Eagles offense in the beginning. Then you have Lamar. It looks like Lamar was set up to like set this game on fire, right? It looked like it could have been one of those games where it was like, oh my God, the Ravens just ran away with it, right? This was their 28-3, whatever. They were on a roll like they rolled the Bills. And then it just didn't unfold that way. And then the Ravens did not know how to play in a game like that. And the Eagles did. There was a couple drives where the Eagles just especially in the one touchdown with Dallas Goedert, they just systematically went after the defense. Like, it was a legitimate game plan. A legitimate plan of attack. I keep telling you guys, every Baltimore Ravens game just feels like they just call hike and say, Lamar, please try to do something, bud. Okay, we'll hand it off to Derrick Henry. He's really big and strong. Hopefully he can get 5-6 yards. I don't see the actual focused game plan in this offense, in this attack. And it's not like the defense played bad, because the defense played pretty well. But then it wasn't balanced with an offense that was able to do anything. So it's just a disconnected team. And when you're in a close game like this, and you have players kind of having issues, complaining, or even looking checked out, that is a culture problem. That is a fundamental problem. It is a real thing. That is a real thing. And it's just, you got to right this ship before it's too late. Because you are going to squander an unbelievable season from Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I mean, you have Mark Andrews looking like he's an all-pro Hall of Famer in his prime. I mean, the dude looking like he's like 25 years old, has his full career ahead of him, never had a surgery, never had an injury. I mean, my God. And that was the other thing that I wanted to highlight too. Like, rekindle the love with Mark Andrews. I know obviously he was injured last year and got away from him, but like, recognize him being that true leader and security blanket. I mean, this real big nucleus should be Lamar, Andrews, Henry. Complement that with a focused, physical, tough defense, forcing 3 and outs, forcing good field position. And it's like this team should be like nearly unstoppable. This offense should be nearly unstoppable. And it's just not. Occasionally you see a really smart, innovative play calling that enhances the skill set and magnifies and highlights the greatness of Lamar Jackson. But 99% of the time that we see Lamar Jackson's greatness on display, it's just because of himself. It's because of his own instincts, his own athletic ability, his own talent. We so rarely see his talent being unlocked by like a beautiful play call, play design, game plan, whatever it may be. That is a problem. That is a problem. Lamar Jackson will always be limited, and the team will always be held back because of that. And I'm not going to act like it's easy to be able to maximize Lamar Jackson because of his skill set, but at the same time, you got to do a better job than whatever we're doing here. I mean, you just got to. The guy is still an athletic freak in his prime. You can see it. He's so light on his feet. He looks stronger and faster than ever. Stop wasting those prime years, man. Again, if you're a Ravens fan, and I've said this now, at least a month or so ago, you should just be angry at the Ravens now, at the franchise. You really should be. You really, really should be. Because I just look at these types of games and just think it's indefensible. You're not even winning the division. I still believe the Ravens can attack and come time playoffs. If I'm looking at the Ravens versus the Chiefs, I'm still like, I don't know who's winning this game. Still think the Ravens can beat the Bills, the Steelers. I think some of those teams are better than the Ravens, but I'm not counting the Ravens out. Again, mainly because of, not mainly, 100% because of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is still one of the scariest players in the history of the game. I mean, what he can do is just insane and effortless. And I'm just still waiting for the Ravens to enhance that. I've just never seen them enhance it. He's enhanced the Ravens. The Ravens have never enhanced him. That is the key right there. He enhances the Ravens. The Ravens have never enhanced him. Find a way to enhance Lamar. You'll just win and win and win. Until then, you're going to get whatever we've been watching for the last few years. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens? Do you think this roster right now is good enough to compete for a Super Bowl? Do you still think that they're a top contender? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.